So, for example, in the Bangalore airport, the gradient or the thickness of the rattan changes. So when you look through it, you can see some areas are public, some are private.
Especially when I'm doing hospitality, I need to look at the complete fabric of the project. And you need to be sure that who is your target audience, how you need to address it. That's how you need to bring in the material, sustainable material, which is appropriate for the project.
One of the security guards, I asked her, what is all this stuff doing? She didn't know who we were. I said, what's all this bamboo stuff, rattan stuff doing everywhere? Why can't these guys just make a normal airport? And she goes, no, sir, you're completely missing the point. We need a special airport to describe how the environment works.
So everything is needs to be, number one, whether it is sustainable, non-sustainable, whatever price, it has to be durable, aesthetic, because we are creating kind of it. And budget, we feel that sometimes when we do hotels, we have no budget line, but we have more stringent budget lines.
Hello everyone, my name is Pooja Tiwari and I'm very excited for this third season of We See Live, and I warmly welcome all of you to the second episode of We See Live Season 3. We See Live is an initiative by the Godrej Value Co-Creators Club, founded by the Godrej Locks and Architectural Fittings and Systems. The Godrej Value Co-Creators Club was established 3 years ago as a dedicated platform to nurture the architectural and interior design community. For those who haven't joined us yet, you can sign up using the link in the chat box. To our existing members, a warm welcome. The club now boasts over 2,000 practitioners and continues to grow stronger each day. We host various community-led initiatives, with VC Live being one of our flagship programs. Here's a quick look at what GVCC is all about.
Welcome to the Godrej Value Co-Creators Club, where innovation meets collaboration. GVCC is a unique platform for architects and interior designers to merge their creative visions with our innovative product offerings, building safe, sustainable, and optimized solutions for consumers. We aim to cultivate a network of thought leaders driving innovation and excellence in the industry. Celebrate your achievements with our GV's Awards, recognizing innovative projects across various verticals. Join our community through exhibition visits and masterclasses to stay updated on the latest trends and technologies. Enjoy exclusive access to new products, special discounts, and tours of our Mumbai and Goa plants. Join the Godrej Value Co-Creators Club today. Be part of a community that values innovation, collaboration, and sustainability.
We See Live is a monthly series featuring interactive and educational conversations with experts in architecture and design. In the first season, we explored the nuances of conscious design. The second season delved into the concept of smart living. As we embark on this new season, we are very excited for the engaging discussions and insightful exchanges under the theme Future Forward. This season of VC Live is better, brighter, and more enriching than ever before. As we dive into Season 3, we are bringing you fresh perspectives that challenge the status quo and push the boundaries of architecture and design innovation. Future Forward ignites conversations that inspire, challenge, and evolve our understanding of design and its impact on our lives and the planet, addressing the urgent need for sustainable, visionary, and technologically advanced solutions. Join us to explore revolutionary ideas that will redefine our built environments, featuring insights from luminary thinkers, pioneers, and disruptors worldwide. All right, on that note, let's dive into the topic for episode 2. And the topic is building experiences through architecture. In this session, we will explore how architectural design can shape and elevate the experiences of those who engage with spaces, particularly within the hospitality industry. I'm honored to introduce our first distinguished speaker for today's session. He is from a leading sustainable design firm, Enters Project Asia, who is renowned for his expertise in blending sustainability with cutting-edge technology to create transformative architectural experiences. His work is celebrated globally for its grassroots sustainability, seamlessly integrating digital design with local craftsmanship, particularly through the use of 100% biodegradable rattan. With utmost pleasure, let's welcome architect Patrick Keane. Warm welcome, Patrick. We're very excited to hear your insights on this very important topic. Over to you.
Well, thanks very much for having me. I hope everybody can see me and hear me okay. Yes. It's a little bit after work in Bangkok here, where we're based. I know I don't have much time to do a long presentation, so I'm going to go through the slides actually quite quickly and let the work speak for itself. Thanks very much to the host and to the organizers for having me for the second time now. Last time was in Pune Live. So just getting straight into it, and I've made a few amendments for the people that saw me lecture last time. So for the fear of being bored, I'm keeping it all real. We've got some selected works here. Namely from this year, from 2024, what's on the boards right now. Some of the work is new work, recently commissioned. The other stuff is recently completed projects, all pertaining to hospitality, all complaining to our DNA, our grassroots idea on sustainability. It starts with communities, it starts with villages, and we seek inspiration even from small elements like this fan I'm holding, which blurs in and out. But yeah, the weaving pattern of these kinds of things. So the arts and crafts industry is huge for us. It really started as an initiative in lockdown, actually. That's where it really got momentum. You know, I'm a trained architect, and the projects grew in scale from small chairs, furnishings, now to full-scale interiors mainly in hospitality. You know, we seek fluid forms in nature because we argue that architecture can be non-static and enjoyed from numerous vantage points, like nature itself. So I'm the director of company. I've lived, worldwide, and this is my design manager, Renee, and with us, we've been working together since 2014 at Enter Projects Asia. Very quickly, we work, in the infrastructure, architecture, and hospitality fields. We're a Thai firm. We're a Southeast Asian firm, very vertical. So we do design, concept. And we've got more into fabrication, not necessarily through my own design, but because we couldn't find people to build segments or parts of our projects. So we get a lot into construction, and we're getting a lot of value from that. So it started off with, small ideas, small projects like yoga studios. This is one here. And, the health and wellness market, which was a niche market before COVID. Pre-COVID, it was a very small sector of the industry. Now, through the last half a century, it's become full, full range, full scale, mainstream. So yeah, this is one of the projects that won Best of Year Winner 2020 in interior design in New York. And it's a yoga center, all based in plant-based materials, all very, very natural. That's not me in the shot. That's actually my client, who's a sensei yogi. He's very, very well known. His name's Costa, and it's for the Vikasa Yoga Group. So yeah, with this concept of sustainability, grassroots sustainability, noble materials, arts and crafts, we started to get into more commercial projects. And this is something for the Minor Group, who are a very, very large enterprise, big organization, to design something that has a very very prominent atmospheric environment, very atmospheric space called Spice and Barley. So that's a rooftop bar in Bangkok. And if any of you come over, you're more than welcome to stop by the office and we'll take you and we can go and see it. This is all in rattans, bamboos, and natural materials. And then, with this project, we realized we were really onto something because it was very, very well received. And, hospitality needs something to, engage with the environmental issues, the environmental situation that we have on hand right now of working with noble materials and engaging the local community and working with arts and crafts. Jumping this is my first project in India. I know that the speaker coming behind me has been working there for many, many years. This is departures in Bangalore Airport. So our footprint was 8 to 10,000 square meters of eco-sustainable garden and retail airport. So it's located in Bangalore in the Kempegowda Airport. That's the master plan. There's in this project, we actually calculated that we're using 9 kilometers of sustainable rattan. This is the public space, the departures area. So this is the real hub, and we really embrace this project as a departure, working with SOM in the terminal, but also as a departure for architecture and sustainable design on a very, very mainstream level. So we've got a series of pods here that are all encompassing, including a lot of functions and programs that you wouldn't usually see in airports. To put it very, very plainly, we've got a children's playground. We've got bars and restaurants. We've got feature spaces like the Wolfgang Puck, and a series of lightings. On the right, you've got some bars and restaurants. And this picture for us says it all. Our largest pod is slightly smaller than a Boeing 747 and slightly larger than a Concorde. So if the building industry and the design industry can embrace that for a minute and think about that from a material standpoint, think about 9 kilometers of materials being used and building something that's slightly smaller than an aircraft. Think of the positive input that a designer can have if they're driving the industry to work with plant-based, highly renewable, highly local materials. In this complex world that we live in, because the converse of that is you could work with a lot of plastics and steels and metals. So it's about those sorts of things that we really want to embrace. So how did we do all of this? Well, we broke it all down into panels. We worked a lot with parametric design. We're only 3.5 hours flight from Bangalore here in Bangkok, so the freight transportation was very expedient, very, very short. We did some mock-ups in our factory and mock-ups and so on and so forth, and then actually started to erect and install it in the site. So this is not directly a hotel or a conventional hospitality project. However, it's a very public space with all of the bars and restaurants and eating environments that you get in a hospitality marketplace. So we've got Madeleine French Bakery, we've got Café Chocolat, we've got Wolfgang Puck, and a host of other places. On the left here, you see an integration of landscape, including several olive trees, which are hundreds of years old, to really complete the picture of the Garden City. It's meant to be a testament to Bangalore. And we've seen airports before, like Changi, like those other very advanced airports. But I think this is the number one airport right now in the world. I firmly believe that, and it's right in India. So it's a huge testament and a legacy project to the state of design that's taking place in India right now. It's a wonderful place to work, and I think we can all embrace it on different levels. Going back into a more cultural project, this is a gallery in Chiang Mai. We work a lot with computation behind the scenes, behind all the arts and crafts. We use a lot of digitization to, like I mentioned earlier, imitate smoke and clouds and steam, natural formations. And this is a gallery in a hotel. This is the lobby space actually for this interaction in Chiang Mai. So we've got an outdoor area which we designed, and an indoor area, and a very, very basic shell box to host all of the containers and the rooms and zones, which are done out of plant-based materials. So here you have dining areas. To the right, you have the gallery areas, lighting, seating, and so on and so forth. And there's a little bit of bonsai as well, just to finish the picture. Onto another project which we're doing right now. It's a project in South Palms in Bohol in the Philippines. It's a UNESCO site, very, very close to the beach, very, very wide site. And we started working on it with a local designer, and COVID came and materials were not readily available. So I said to the owners, well, why don't we actually use this as a testing bed for sustainable upgrades? So anything that you would conventionally put into a building, think about it. Think about surfaces and materials. So the first place to start is the lobby of a hotel, the first moment. So see that whole lobby, the whole ceiling, 680 square meters, was meant to be built in conventional plasterboard or sheetrock and covered with veneers. We said, why don't we do it in rattan? So they said, okay, send us a mock-up, send us a panel. Anyway, we were awarded that part of the project. And what you see is what you get. And this is almost like a kind of twisting vortex of very local materials. This is our factory. This is under construction and soon to be delivered, or actually being delivered as we speak. So yeah, here's an example where you can actually just swap out a conventional building material that's not anything. It's actually quite toxic. It's not a great material like a plasterboard, and replace it with something that is really championing a new wave and a new age of design in India, Oceania, Southeast Asia, where these materials are readily available, especially in India. And so we went on with this process. We went through every single major room, and we said, how about the conference ceiling? So this is a rendering of the conference ceiling. This is our conference ceiling for the factory mock-up, and so on and so forth. We went into the bridges. We went into every public part of the project, and we said, why don't we all do this in plant-based to encourage ivy and vines seasons? So what you see here is the bridge installed, and it encourages plant life and growth. So yeah, these huge interventions continued. This is a beach pavilion, and it's a very, very fine, thin powder coated aluminium this time, which is like a shingle rather than a heavy conventional construction of steel. It's an earthquake area, so actually all of the shingles move to counteract the vibrations of the earthquake. But in conventional construction, you'd over detail, use large steel frames, and so on and so forth. Now, I want to make a point that all of this engineering is actually somebody we work with very, very closely. He's based in Bangalore. Our engineer of choice is Manjunath and Co. And he's based in Bangalore. He's an Indian engineer, and we work together on a lot of innovation, and we come up with some great results. So he's engineered all these projects. This is another pavilion that we're working on right now, and that's soon to be shipped and delivered. We actually work in 8 countries, so we do a lot of modular construction, a lot of modularity, plant-based, making modular construction sexy, making it interesting, with the design sector. This is something that I shouldn't really show you, but I want to show you. It's a couple of quick images on a resort in the Black Desert, all modular, very fine, very lightweight, thin construction. Onto this one. This one here is a safari lodge in Botswana in Africa. Like with the other projects, we're working on site and off site. So the conventional build of the project, the slabs and the floors will be done on site, and then we're doing everything off site. So all of these materials here are all modulated or modular in construction and principle, and then shipped in and installed. These are some public spaces. This is the library, for example, which is the hub. And then we've got a wellness section as well. Here we have a mock-up. So this is a mock-up in the factory to show how we actually bring those projects to life, and actually how we maintain our sustainable roots, but work also with modular construction and make that into something and make that into reality. I'm warned of time here, so I'll just take a couple more minutes just to wrap up with the banyan tree project. That's repurposing their very, very first ever project that they ever built, which is the courtyard villas. These were invented in Phuket, and here they are right here, 22 villas. We're doing a sustainable upgrade to these projects. So anything that we take out, we put something more sustainable and more upgraded in. So for example, these lamps, the lighting, the LEDs, the materials, and generally the look and feel. The materials are sourced within 100 kilometers from the site. And so that's the feel good factor. So here are the cocoons or the sleeping pods, and these are the general areas, outdoor areas as well. And finally, finishing up with the living areas in the pavilions or the pods. I should probably end there because that's all the time I really have. And thank you very much for having me. I wish I could continue a bit more, but based on the format, I'll hand it over back to you.
Thank you so much, Patrick. I think, of course, we all are truly excited, and we really want to actually move ahead and see a lot of other projects. But like you rightly said, we're pressed on time. But of course, thank you so much for sharing such an interesting works with all of us. And of course, many congratulations on your first project in India, and that's the Bengaluru airport.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, let's turn our attention to our second speaker, a luminary in the hospitality design realm, architect Khozema Chitalwala, who is the founder and principal architect at Designers Group. With a distinguished career spanning over 3 decades, his work is known for its contextual and sensitive design, where simplicity is the key, creating holistic experiences for clients and guests alike. He has made significant contributions to the field with landmark projects like the Taj Hotels and Resort, IHCL, and Fairfield by Marriott in Mumbai. Under his leadership, Designers Group has become a name synonymous with innovation and excellence, receiving numerous prestigious awards, including Luxury Hotel Designer at the IHE Excellence Awards 2022. With so much amazing credits to our next guest, a warm welcome to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining in. We are extremely eager to hear your insights on this very important topic, building experiences through architecture. Over to you, sir.
Pooja, thank you so much for introduction. I think so. Having seen Patrick's work, I feel really very excited, and I have started feeling a couple of years younger, and I feel that we have so much to do. Yeah, we have to learn so much, we have to do so much, and I believe we as a creative guy and creative industry, we need to work much more in collaboration with a lot of other people and learn from a lot of other things. So thank you so much, Team Ford, Godrej, for inviting me for this particular presentation, this VC live. And I think so what is most important for us is the way the industry, hospitality industry is gearing up for the future which is coming up over here. And I feel that the complete industry and fraternity needs to have a little different perspective altogether for the or an outlook towards the complete industry. Uh, what we have, what we are going to next, can we run it? So just to give you a little brief about what we are at Designers Group. So I would just give you a brief that Designers Group is a 37-year-old company, which is and of that last 26 years we have purely invested into hospitality, and uh, we are a firm where we do all kind of hospitality work. So we do from budget hospitality, architecture, interior to the boutique hospitality here in India. Uh, with the kind of experience which we carry, I believe uh, we have a little far more deeper insights of hospitality here and hospitality industry here in India. Uh, our philosophy has been, Designers Group as a philosophy has been very, very, from the day one of my practice, I have always believed that we should be as simple as possible, as clean as possible. And over a, I think so, the shelf life of the project and the product remains much more larger. It doesn't get dated so fast if you are simple. And it allows you to express a lot of other things which are part of the public spaces, which we feel that having said so, people need to experience. And the bigger challenge what we face is that in the current scenario where or when we are working here in India, especially, we have so much of cultural diversity. We have so much of variation in terms of the social fabric also. Uh, this allows us to experiment with our design, and this allows us to uh, create create something, an identity for the project by using the local nuances. So as far as even the food is concerned, we try to create an F&B concepts which are more relevant to the local nuances, because people when go there, you don't like to go. I think so. Most of us when we go to Italy or when we go to Thailand, Patrick, I feel that I should have Thai food, not Indian food. So whenever in India when we are traveling, we always feel that when we are traveling to a destination, probably we would like to experiment or we would like to understand the food culture of that particular space. And this is what allows us to create those variation, those nuances can be used. And with the food, there are a lot of cultural influence. So when we are talking about India, India is a very diverse country where probably if you look at it, at every 50 kilometers, you will find that dialect of our dialect changes. With that kind of diversity, our design also needs to be diverse, and it needs to be, being a public space, it needs to be, we need to be sure that whatever we are creating should be able to have its own identity. Because when we work with the hospitality brand, especially when it comes to uh, hospitality, I'll just explain to you a little detail about how hospitality is. So we start with very budget. There are guest houses and kind of thing which are also considered as part of the hospitality. And when we come to a organized sector of hospitality, there is a three-star hotel, and there is four-star and five-star, and then goes on boutique and premium and seven-star levels and kind of thing. So this keeps on growing as such. But when it comes to the volume of the hospitality is in three and four-star level properties. So, for example, a three-star property cannot be recreated every day. It has to be somewhere a model where it has to be a very it needs to be a little more continuous. It should create a brand identity which flows from one place to one location to another. It may be one city or one town or whichever location it is. But every property here in India or anywhere in the world has to have its own identity. I would say that if you are going to go and stay, let's say in Mumbai or in Delhi, or let's say you start going to a neighboring city like Surat or any other Nasik or Pune, you should be able to realize that the memories created by that particular property should be should have an individual identity. And that identity creation can be used by using the local nuances. The most important part of our philosophy, what we feel is that uh, I think so. As a team designers group, we all believe that we need to work hard and play hard. Now, I believe if you are in a stress environment, you don't get creative ideas. And that's what I feel that I always keep on telling my team that please work hard, but also have fun. You should enjoy what the process is. You should enjoy the journey of creativity. And this is only can be created by a perfect yin and yang balance which we need to create. That balance is which is very important for us. And at the same time, being a very cautious and a very responsible consultant, we need to be very sustainable, very green. So as we speak, we try to create a lot of projects which are very sustainable, but also trying to reduce the carbon footprint to a great extent. So being Indian, what we try to do is to be local, try and be as Indian as possible in order to reduce the carbon footprint as a responsible consumption. So I want to share a couple of projects which is there. This is one of the resort which we are designing in Keene Forest. It's a so if you look at the project is on the lake. It's almost like surrounded by water from three sides. I think so. This is a very closer view, but when you look at the bottom part of it, the bottom is completely the lake. Now this is a 15-acre site where we are doing. This was actually the first cut presentation which I am showing, trying to show. The water here in the lake has got a lot of crocodiles, so people can't get into that lake or a dam reservoir which is there. And we what we felt was that to bring the water experience can be not be experienced by the virtue of lake, but it could be only be visual. Hence, we brought the water on in the site because there is a lot of abundance of water which is available over there, and we created lagoons and pools where people could experience this. Actually, this was a farming land very next to the forest in Gir, and that's the reason what we felt was that we should recreate the complete reforestation of this particular site is happening. So we are as we what you see over here in this first cut presentation are the only trees which are existing. But as we speak today, we have planted around 25,000 trees in this 15-acre of site. Small, big shrubs, everything together around 25 or 1,000 plants which are there, which we cultivated into our plant greenhouse over there, and we have replanted here to bring in the reforestation. Now, what we felt was very important is that the reforestation was very important part of it. Now, what we also love to do is that we always try to write uh, the stories behind it. So here we are using the Leo constellation because this is where the largest quantum of Asiatic lions are there, and the formation and the philosophy which was used in terms of planning also the hilltops which are being considered, all those are those factors which were inculcated in this particular project. Architecturally, what we felt was that experience of openness, those kind of sustainabilities in terms of the attachment of design, attachment of environment. So inside, outside, both flows into each other. Whereas there is no defined line as such in a process where the experience is it is a very big the inside experience and outside experience of the spaces needs to be connected very well. It's a very year when we were talking initially, we were also looking at trying to bring in certain elements of water collection because since we are consuming a lot of larger quantity of water, we also said that we'll try and collect water from the atmosphere and we'll try and recycle at least for the reflecting pools and other things. We'll try and do that. The experience of water where if you are on a lake side and if you are on a lake resort, probably you would like to get into the water as soon as you step out. So here what we created was a very nice reflecting body because that's what we experienced when we went there in monsoon. There are stepping pools, puddles which were created in the forest, and that what we created here as a part of a lagoon pool in this resort. So I'm trying to show you the experience, how hospitality has been changing. So from a resort which is currently a very big trend to a four-star property which is a Novotel Bhopal, which is a city-like hotel. So how the architecture is changing. When you look at a city-based architecture, how does the architecture and complete format changes? And I will show you, this is a mid-segment hotel, how the variation of this, each of this level of category of hotel keeps on changing because the layer of detailing changes. If you look at the room now, the rooms are very basic, but freshen up with lot of bright colors, because every brand, every brand has its own ethos, and those ethos needs to be incorporated in the design. So for example, this project was in Bhopal, and we wanted that graphic wallpaper. If you look at it, it's a part where you will see that there is a map of Bhopal which is being incorporated in a very graphical manner with the elements of Madhya Pradesh. So because this is what is creating a design story for each and every. So whether it may be a budget, whether it may be a premium boutique hotel, everything we can create include the local nuances and local stories in order to ensure that we have the right memories being created or individual identity created for the project. So again, you have a look at it. The brand color is green. How that green is been incorporated to what percentage? Because there are various percentage level of colors which we need to introduce into this in order to ensure that the brand ethos is ensured and not diluted. Now I will show you a budget property next. It's a very basic property. It's a 3-star level, entry level property which is there. The layering of detail from what you saw in the first hotel or first interior project to what architecture project to the interior projects which is now getting converted into, you will see that this is getting more and more basic. More and more basic. There is lesser number of walls are painted. There are lesser number of detailing. So the layering of details keeps on varying. And I think so what is most important here is to bring in more of sustainability in this particular. Hospitality, I think so, is one of the industry which is very, very conscious in terms of sustainability and being more green in terms of more conscious about it. And as an industry, so they take care of lot of factors which are there. But again, the sleeping experience and the public area F&B experiences are two different level of experience. Budget doesn't mean that you just put a bed and kind of thing, but you need to bring in a little more experience. So, for example, this was in Surat, and when you look at it, you will find that there is a wave which is going on a head wall. It's a graphical wallpaper which is there, but it talks about that is how the tapi is flowing in Surat, and tapi plays a very important role in Surat, and that's what is very important for us. We represented this year. So a parking in Surat talks about tapi, but somewhere else in probably Lucknow it might talk about Gomti. So it can be anywhere, anything, but it should be a relevant position where people should be able to realize and remember it. So these are just the view and render. How budget is being. Now I will show you a budget property which is a little more in terms of boutiquish. So again, property which is inspired by Jantar Mantar, the very contemporary version of the geometry, which is really a very Mughal geometry, which is very contemporary and parametric format in which the geometry is being conceived and being used here. So how the format of design is changing from minimalism, yet this is also a very minimalistic, but yet there are nuances which are very royal, which talks about very strong Indian designs line of Rajasthan. You have tree of life and everything which is coming here being inspired in the art and other things. So this is how the arches which are very, very Jaipuri style architecture and Rajasthan style architecture, which has got a lot of Mughal influences. So this is how the accent of that or a little details of those are being incorporated in order to bring in more of those details. So again, here when we talk about the design stories, we are talking about Ratna Devi Ratna. Ratna is something which is very common. And here, if you look at the headboard, Here we have used the local art, but represented the sparkle of diamond, which is a rattan. So this is how the philosophy helps us in creating art, identity for each and every project, and kind of relevance which we can bring to the each and every. This allows us to create an identity for each and every project. So this is also one of the project next. Again, here when we did this at Haridwar, this is one of our favorite project where we use influence. We wrote story with religion. Now, religion is something what we never bring it in public, but here we could write it represent it in a very abstract manner. So if you look at the doors where this being in Haridwar, we have expressed the importance of Shiv in Haridwar, and by using Neelkant color, we have used elements, other elements. Go next. Probably you will find that those elements are very important. So if you look at the headboard, the reception backdrop, probably you will find that there is a Damru and all those graphical crowd representation with Rudraksh. So this is something which is again representing Shiv, and the Neelkant color of the furniture which is used as an accent is also a Shiv representation. So it is on Ganga. We use, if you look at this also when we are looking at the all-day dining area, being there on a Haridwar and also being open, there is a lot of humidity, there is a lot of acoustic problem if you are going to use hard floor and kind of thing. So what we did was we used those. These are the stand of which are used for Gita and Quran and other holy books. The stand which are being used, we use them as a panel over here to create the acoustical to create better acoustics for this particular area. So this helped us in dampening the voice all around which was happening in that all day dining. So this is all about, we have got hospitality where we do a lot of hospitality architecture and ID, and we try. What we love about ourselves is that we have learned, and what we are trying to improvise and keep on improvising project by project is to write more and more design stories which I could not describe here very explicitly, but yes, what we love is to write a design story, and that's what we try to bring in each of our projects. Thank you so much, and I think so I overshot my some time, I believe. I'm so sorry.
No problem, sir. Thank you so much, Architect Patrick and Architect Khozema, for your enlightening presentations. It's truly inspiring to see how both of you are pushing the boundaries of architecture and design in the hospitality industry, each in your own unique way. So thank you very, very much for that. All right, before I invite our speakers for a quick discussion, an important announcement for our audience members that post this discussion, we will have a quick Q&A round where our esteemed speakers are going to answer questions from the audience. So request our audience members to kindly post questions in the Q&A tab placed below on the panel bar. Thank you. Moving forward, let's hear the thoughts on the topic from our speakers. Would request Architect Khozema to start the discussion. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. And Patrick, good evening. I think so it's late evening for you already. Dinner time. I think so, Patrick. I have seen the projects which you have done. I have seen the Bangalore airport, and I have experienced Bangalore airport as well. I feel that when we talk about sustainability here, probably we touch the surface of it. And what I feel as an architect and an interior designer, I feel that there is a lot of lack of material availability. There is a lot of serious guideline in terms of interiors, green and eco-friendly interiors. I feel you play with it lovely. I have seen the way you use your skills in order to set the right tone for and right mood for sustainable interiors also and architecture. What do you feel about it, and how do you think we should be able to, as a fraternity, how should we be able to resolve this challenge?
Well, this is a big question. It would probably, it might take a whole conference or a couple of days to answer it. From our standpoint, we're actually looking for different words to describe sustainability because the word is overused. But there's three forms in principle of sustainability, or three formats. The first one is performance. Wind, thermal, sun orientation, this kind of thing. We're very basic sustainability that people ignore sometimes in the development sector. But orienting your building in a certain way, or choosing the right material, or the right amount of glass, putting glass on the south, not the north, and so on and so forth, or the east. Then there's there's the cultural, or the arts and crafts, engaging community engagement, working with local materials, sourcing local skills, local trades. That sounds like a pocket industry, but it's actually can be very, very sophisticated. And then the third one is the arts and crafts, actually the skill of putting that together. So optimizing a building, working with arts and crafts, and choosing the right materials comes up with a much better result in general than not thinking about it. I'm being very, very general here, and very running broad strokes. In terms of certifying materials and finding sustainable upgrades, yeah, that's a constant nightmare. It's always difficult, but in the product based world that we live in, and the internet as the service provider, there are it's easy for a young designer or a person to get distracted or not know what is the right choice. So we have very, very stringent methods of working through those processes, but a lot of sustainable outcomes can become with the concept of less is more. Optimizing buildings, optimizing structures, using less material waste, using less weight, less concrete. Again, engaging arts and crafts, which I see that you're doing in your motifs and your aesthetics, and your finding people that can manufacture that kind of stuff. And then the last one is the materials. So yeah, it's not an easy question. But it's a process. And now I think it's the responsibility of any designer working at any kind of scale to put that in the very beginning of their thought process, not at the end. Yeah, hopefully that was helpful. I'm not sure if that was, if I confused everybody.
No. I think so. Every word we speak here is always going to be helpful, because we as probably a little pioneers in the design industry, we need to also look at how young people should be looking at, and how the young design fraternity should be looking at it. Yep. from the perspective of design. Yeah. I'm in agreement. I think so. We use lot of local artisans and local art. So when we were talking about, probably just to share my experience, and when we are doing this resort, which I showed you in first place, I think so. The renders are the first cut renders, even the renders of stone cladding are not doing justice to it. We tried to do something on AI, and then we realized that this was looking too plasticky. But when we gave it to a local guy, you will not believe, he did a fantastic job out of it. He did a fantastic job because he's skilled, and he's trained. His mind is trained to do something which is very, very
That's local. Exactly right. Yeah. So there's highly skilled people that you're dealing with. Some of these artisans and arts and crafts people are highly, highly skilled.
So, but you're probably there, and we were you would be surprised. We are doing one project in Uttarakhand, and we are doing one, as a matter of fact, which is a better choice. We are doing something in Himachal. And Himachal, it's a mountain, it's a seismic zone, seismic 4 zone. And when we started, we felt that structure could be like that, and we had all the fantasies. And then we realized, boss, these fantasies don't work. And we finally got hold of one fellow 2 villages ahead of their site, and he started quarrying the material, stone, quarrying the block out of the site, because we had to cut the site to some extent. And he started using that as a wall, as a masonry wall. So I think so. Being local to that extent is going to be for every project, it's going to be a worthwhile exercise. When you are doing internationally, I think so you play with bamboo and rattan very, very well. And I sometimes I feel I am very envious with and I'm very excited to visit locations in Far East Asia where a people can do a great job of with with the bamboo and rattan. I believe. Can you give us a little throw on light of what and how did you find experimenting the same
Oh, well, I mean,
product line in the Bangalore airport? Because most of us must have seen it, but as I told you, I'm going to see it again, and I'm going to spend some time at airport looking at Patrick's.
Well, it's a very Asian project. It's not a European project. So now everybody knows what what Asian design is, or what Southeast Asian design is, even in Europe. And so that's a signature project. I think this region, including India and Thailand and Southeast Asia, is a source of inspiration worldwide for design. I think that the language, materials, and the whole aesthetic of Southeast Asian design, whether it's working with not necessarily teak woods because it's quite rare, but beautiful woods from India, or stone, or bamboo or rattan from Southeast Asia, or stone from Vietnam, or volcanic rock or laterite that I've seen used in Bangalore, or bricks. The brick aesthetic is overtly Indian and overtly Southeast Asian, from Cambodia to Vietnam to Thailand to India, and that has now become a global flavor in design. So I think that's all I really have to say about that, because people in Europe are now talking about this kind of work, even when they live in Europe, and they love the exotic flavor of Asian or Indian design. And so I think it's a time where it's spreading as a material sense, but also as an aesthetic. So our forms are very contemporary. We source a lot of forms from nature. We work a little bit with motifs, slightly less than motifs, but we definitely work with them. So the flavor of those things is what we're ingraining in our work. Take, for example, we're working now only with a brick project, and that's a special brick that we use and source and enable it to embellish the aesthetics. It's an exposed material. It's interior, it's exterior. So with the rattan, it's a basic material. It's not a fancy material, and that's the point. It's highly renewable, highly recyclable. Now, if you're to build a wall out of a base material like a plasterboard or a synthetic material, you don't have various transparencies, you don't have nuances of the material, you don't have the tones, you don't have the warmth. So, for example, in the Bangalore airport, the gradient or the thickness of the rattan changes. So when you look through it, you can see some areas are public, some are private. And I will remember one of the girls who was working there, one of the security guards. I asked her, "What is all this stuff doing?" She didn't know who we were. I said, why all these what's all this bamboo stuff, rattan stuff doing everywhere? Why can't these guys just make a normal airport?" And she goes, "No, sir, you're completely missing the point. We need a special airport to describe how the environment works, with the changes, with the filters, with the light and shadow in nature that you see in there." So that's somebody that's just working in the airport. That's the 9 to 5 job. And I said, "Do you like working in the space?" She says, "It's one of the best spaces I've worked in my life." She goes, "I feel sorry for all those people that have to sit in offices all day looking at boards and looking at plastic furniture." So, design's a funny industry. It affects people in very, very different ways. It sometimes affects people that you don't expect, and sometimes it, gives you surprises along the way.
I'm in absolute agreement, and I think so. I appreciate what that lady told you about a security officer or somebody who was working at the Bangalore airport. Because we as designer, I feel that we are always in a position. We are so strongly. We can change the perception of the space. We can change the use and feel of that space, and we can make people feel very comfortable or uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I think so that is something what we have a control, and public spaces are very, very important. I think so. We have got a reminder that we are out of time and we need to move to question and answer. So Pooja, I would hand it over back to you and see if we have any questions or everybody is very satisfied with our
No, we have a couple of questions, sir. All right, so after such a relevant discussion, it's time to move forward, dive deeper, and address some of the questions from the audience members. So first up, we have got a question by Miss Gopika Gaur. She's asking, what's the research procedure for understanding the authenticity and usability of sustainable materials? So any of you can answer.
I'll hand that one over to Khozema, because I've just answered 3 questions by typing them. So it's your turn.
So I think so. See, everything and anything which you do should have a reason for it. There is no, I would say, there is no guided procedure as such that how would you. So it's like I will give you a very simple example. When you go to Google Maps and you ask for a destination, you get a couple of options. You choose the best of the options. Probably, I always feel that, and I will be honest with you, it took me probably 25, 27 years to understand the importance of narrative and the design stories. It is after this many years of practice I understood the importance of narrative, because I've been taught in an old school format. And when I learned my architecture, to be honest enough, we created design first and then we created concepts.
Yeah.
So today the architecture format designing education is changed. We start with the narrative. And when my daughter was doing architecture, she came to me and she gave me first year of architecture and she said, "I'm working on this narrative." And I said, "What stupid is this?" I couldn't realize, but today I realize the importance of it. So it's a roadmap which you choose in order to go to attain to your goal. So there is no defined process, but you need to do research. That is the most important thing. You need to walk through that path.
Sure. Thank you so much, sir. Next up, we've got a question and it says, how can we convince high-end clients into using sustainable materials in their projects? Patrick, would you want to say? Or
I don't know, but
I don't mind. It depends. It depends if they're local or foreign clients. We notice that with local clients, they always want something from Europe, wherever we are, and with foreign clients, they always want something from where we're standing having the conversation. So it doesn't matter about the money. It's about the education. Um, with a yoga studio, that was probably our first foray into, grassroots sustainability. The guy was originally from Ukraine or Serbia, but he wanted something overtly Southeast Asian. He didn't want anything about Europe, nothing about history. He wanted something that was really tactile and working with the environment and working with the earth. He wanted an urban oasis. This was in the middle of the city. He wanted something that was a getaway and escape. So yeah, he runs a high end client business, but the issue is more cultural issue. A social issue, whether the client wants to keep up with the Joneses, or whether they want to step out and make something from themselves, like more heart and soul. Yeah.
So I would like to add a couple of more things to this. As a matter of fact, I think so. The number one point is, first point would be how strongly you are convinced to be sustainable. If you are convinced, you will give your best in order to convince your client that you need to be local. Now, for example, I'll tell you, I just came from, and I was at somewhere in Russia, and I saw one beautiful dress. The beautiful dress, you will not believe, had Jaipur print blocks. It only costed in dollars. So probably this was, and I felt that, and I'll be honest, my wife liked it, but the moment she saw it, she said that it's a beautiful thing. Next time I'm going to go to Jaipur, I will buy this. I will go to Rajasthan and buy it, because she is aware about it.
Yes.
So probably sometimes client is not aware that whether India or as a country, we have so much of facility, so much of diversity which is available. Today also, there are so many people who are going to China to buy a lot of stuff. I do agree. Yeah. There are factories in China who do brilliant stuff. There are factories, we have imported material, even furniture from Thailand also, from Indonesia also. But at the same time, there are a large segment of things are now available here in India also. Yeah. For that, you need to get educated, and you need to be sure, and you need to say that, sir, this is also available here in India. And you need to be sure about the quality of the product, and you will be able to practice.
Yeah.
Absolutely well said, sir. I think awareness is very, very important. And in today's time, especially, because if you're not aware, then you end up not getting into something which is quite sustainable, and you end up getting into something which is absolutely.
You buy an Indian dress in Russia.
Yes. All right. Next up, we have a question. It says, is working with sustainability comes great knowledge in the initial design stages of planning? Does everything, planning, thinking of materiality with regards to functionality, is incorporated in the initial stages of your design process or development? In case you want to see the question, it's right there on the panel bar below. You can see the Q&A tab. You can click onto that and see the question. By Ms. Sakshi Mathur.
So I would say, Sakshi, it is you need to educate yourself. See, it is over the period of time you need to keep on. I think so. You need to keep yourself updated. You need to keep your thought processes updated, and probably it has to get in initial design. If you are not there in initial design, probably you will never be able to incorporate whatever you do. You will do a superficial job otherwise.
Yes. You want to add to that, Patrick? So we move on to the next one.
Well, I better answer the next question. Khozema, not because it's just because it's so specific. So yeah, I'll probably move on to
the next question is, what was the most challenging part of the Bangalore airport project, and what was the takeaway?
Well, the most challenging part was time. The time constraints were just inconceivable. And the takeaway was, if you think you can do it, you can do it. The you've got to get people on a project like that. You've got to get people that really believe in the project. Somebody that's really pushing it from both sides, from the client side, from the financial side, and from the design side. And that's what makes a team. It's really a triangle of effort. It's not just the designer's side. It's the designer, the fabricator, and the exchange with the client, and the communication, and also, the finances, everything all going together at full speed. And everybody gave each other momentum to push themselves along. So it just became this spiral, and we got it done. That's how we got it. Yeah, huge amounts of determination is what got that done. Yeah.
All right, so we'll take the next one. It says, when we are talking about creating sustainability through materials and design, we consider certain type of people or class rather than mass, and their extent and limitation of perceived beauty. So to engage the mass audience, how can we influence through simple organic materials or design?
Did you want to do that one?
Makarand, are you an architect or an interior designer?
Makarand, if you could just help us to know.
Type your answer if you want it, or whatever. Maybe if you could just let us know on this chat box only. Are you an architect or an interior designer? See, I'll tell you. I showed you couple of levels of hotel. I showed you a budget hotel, I showed you a mid-segment hotel, and I showed you one premium hotel, also boutique hotel, which are there. Now, if I would have used the same detailing, same kind of material, same kind of things, would the project would have varied? It can't. So it is not the class or the part. When you are, especially when I'm doing hospitality, I need to look at the complete fabric of the project. And you need to be sure that who is your target audience, how you need to address, and that's how you need to bring in the material, sustainable material, which is appropriate for the project. We don't need to sell for the mass and the classes. We are so to engage the mass audience, 101% we can influence through simple, organic, being simple, being very organic. For example, if I have to use if I have to use, let's say, I will give you a very another generic example, that if I have to use a fabric which is to be used on a sofa, if I use a cotton which could take around, let's say, 50,000 or 100,000 cycles of RAR, that cotton would be damn thick. So what would I do? I would select a fabric which has got blend of it. Okay. And I would try to bring in that. And even I would use a cotton which could be used on a cushion cover, which could be a lovely cotton fabric. So you need to bring in the right choice of material, right choice by bringing in simple understanding into that, and try to be sustainable while selecting those materials and implementing them in your designs.
Thank you so much, sir. Next up, we have a question for Patrick. It says, how can rattan be used in area of rainfall? Like anything about making it waterproof?
Okay, so you can cover it with another material externally, and you can get longer life out of it, like a transparent material. If it's outside, outdoors, and exposed, the thing that really breaks it down is actually the UV. So if you're building something on the beach, it's right on the sand and it gets sea spray. It's not going to, with open to the elements 365 days of the year with no covering on it and no treatment, it's not going to work. However, there are ways of prolonging its life using coatings and resins and things that we're experimenting with all the time. We're using a resin that has glucose in it and natural materials, acrylics, these kinds of things. So we're successful in extending the life of it, but not permanent. It's not permanently like any wooden product. If you put a teak chair in similar situations, or any of the hardest woods you can find, even an oak chair, it will wear and tear, or even a merbau. So it is a plant-based material. It needs treatments. It needs a maintenance program. However, our target is to use it externally with another cover, something on top, and more to the point is use it for its material mass. Okay, replacing acres for the airport. We use 9 kilometers. So if you can imagine, that's replacing 9 kilometers of any airport materials that you're using, minerals. You think of Hong Kong airport, everything there is plastic, everything there is a synthetic material or a mineral-based material. But it can be used structurally with cementitious materials as an interior formwork, which is something we're also looking at right now. Sorry, it's a long-winded question, but yeah, it's got its limitations like other materials.
Thank you so much. Moving on, the next question is, how can the choice of materials in interior design project balance sustainability with durability, aesthetic, and cost effectiveness, especially in high traffic or commercial spaces?
Gurvinder, I think so. My question and example of sofa fabric was the right apt answer to this. So everything is needs to be, number one, whether it is sustainable, non-sustainable, whatever price, it has to be durable, aesthetic, because we are creating kind of thing. And budgets, we feel that sometimes when we do hotels, we have no budget line, but we have more stringent budget lines. So probably a residential client would not mind spending probably 5,000 rupees of fabric cost. But yes, here, if you go beyond certain price cost of a fabric, probably purchase guy in the project will not allow. The PMC will not allow. The cost controller, cost consultant will not allow you to use those kind of costs, go overrun on the cost kind of a thing. And being a commercial space, yes, 101% you need to take care of the kind of abused or commercial usage which you have rightly, I would say that we have to rightly choose the material very carefully. I think so. It's important that we have to balance everything, and we can't use a simple thing like you can't use probably a walnut or a very specific species of wood in exterior, because if you use in exterior it will get spoiled. So you need to think about the cost, you need to think about sustainability, you need to think about the durability of the product. So you need to choose the right product, right cost, and create the right aesthetics.
Thank you, sir. We'll take one last question, and it's to Patrick, and it says, talking about fabrication, why did you explore rattan material especially and not others? Any story or specific reason behind the same?
Because the owner of one of our first projects, the yoga studio, wanted a tactile material. And we looked at bamboo. It wasn't as flexible. We looked at rattan. It's cheap, it's durable, and it's everywhere. So it's nothing special, this material. It's not a fine grain material, but now we're working with, I'm not really supposed to say this, but we're working with the watch brand, Vacheron Constantin, doing the interior for their store. So, the big players have now come on board, and are saying, these materials, these organic materials, these basic materials, these sustainable materials are special. So yeah, we did it to get tactility, to bring the outside in. We liked the patina of it, and that's how it came about. We do work with a lot of other sustainable materials. We're featured in rattan, obviously because of the scale of the airport, but we do a lot of other we work with marine plywoods, which are very, very fine veneers of woods that reduce the material mass in projects. Things that, like what Khozema was saying, get durable, highly durable materials, in the palette. If you take, for example, our, the ceiling in the Philippines project, we just replaced a plasterboard ceiling with a rattan ceiling, and we proved to the client that when you put the steel studs in, put the plasterboard on there, when you render it, when you paint it, all of those processes will probably end up costing more or less the same as a rattan ceiling. We won the battle. So we're into switching out conventional materials which have got toxic products in them with materials that have been around for a long time: bamboos, rattans, plywoods, stones, rocks, bricks. Anything that has a tactility to it is what really drives the process. So we ended up using rattan in the airport in India because of its nuances and because its ability to do transparency shifts, like a basket, like a weave, to give people a totally different perception of space. It came in from a conceptual level. So we didn't just grab the rattan and say, okay, we're going to use that today and it's going to switch out directly something else, even though we do use it for that purpose. So it's a full circle of a process. It's a cyclical process. I might have answered that too long, but yeah, it's more of a cycle, this whole thing, of exploring organic design, in the interconnected world. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So I would like to add to what Patrick has said, that let us understand, people who do architecture, they have a thought process. And when we do interior designing also, if both these are not common and they are different, I think so interior design needs to align with that thought process of architecture. So the project has got a brief, there is a guideline, there is a thought process, and that thought process needs to be followed. But having said so also, it is very, very important that if in a very classical building, I had to do a very minimalistic or a very classic heritage building. If I have to do a very minimalistic and a very contemporary interiors, I should have a very good reasons for it. If I can justify that reason, why not? You can. You should be able to. But if I can't justify and if I have to flaw, I think so the safest route or the best route will be to flow with the trend and more flow with it. It is not necessary that I need to use St. Louis, the King Louis fifth chair or something like that in order to prove that yes. But the accent of that would help in creating in that minimalistic environment also. So there are various ways to balance the project and various ways to do it. I think so it only comes once you start getting deeply involved in that particular project.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Architect Khozema and Architect Patrick, for sharing such amazing insights on these questions. And of course, thank you to our wonderful audience for joining in and asking such pertinent questions. Thank you once again for today's insightful episode of We See Live Season 3, Episode 2. We hope you found the discussion both inspiring and thought-provoking. A special thanks to our speakers, Architect Patrick Keane and Architect Khozema Chitalwala, for sharing their expertise on building experiences through architecture and shedding light on how design and technology are reshaping our environments. Stay tuned for our next session and don't forget to follow us for updates on future episodes. Thank you once again for being a part of this dynamic conversation. Have a great evening and see you in episode 3.
Thank you, Godre. Thank you, Poy. Thank you, Pooja. Thank you for bringing us here on this session.
Thank you so much.
Everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Patrick, see you soon.
See you soon. Thank you.